Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 5 of the anime series, Brynhildr in the Darkness. And I have to say from right out of the gate, this was much more of a compelling and entertaining episode for me than last week's episode, which I really strongly felt just went above and beyond with the adolescent humor and everything that spoke against the status quo of the series and the momentum and the drama that had been forthright all through the first 3 episodes. We really got back to a clever medium in this episode of those 2 aspects. Of course, we open up with the new girl, Katori, having just filled out her application to be part of the astronomy group, and Kazumi's looking pointedly at her, shall we say, endowments very jealously. And it's interesting to me that Kazumi is a professed virgin when asked by Ryota, because she's really overcompensating with the sexual nature, licking his cheek and everything, and saying, oh, there's other things girls and boys can do, you know, looking under the stars and everything. She's not really interested in astronomy. She's just taking up residence there for her own convenience. And so we have that tension. It's interesting because it seems like Kuroha actually reacts to this. You see like a desk explode from the other side of the observatory, and she doesn't even realize that was her gut reaction. You know, she's kind of in denial about that. Apparently she does have some interest in Ryota as well, even though the claim to fame for her in this episode was really, once again, being selfless. Because, of course, you know, Kana has this vision. It's a dual vision. There's 2 parts. The first part, she sees Kuroha being killed, and it seems like this new girl, Katori, who, for all intents and purposes, you know, should be kind of sort of living up to being a spy sent in by the lab, as we saw at the end of the last episode. Somebody was sent in to go after them. But it seems like this was a clever misdirection from the writers of the series, because we also have this AA plus class witch who's actually going around slaughtering these witches, hunting them down and slaughtering them with her cannon magic, as we see toward the end of this episode. So it's very possible that Katori might have been a red herring, so to speak, in that she's actually really there to, you know, be friendly, and she doesn't even realize these are other witches, according to her. And so the vision eventually shifts for Kana that actually Ryota is the one who is going to be killed. And in each of these visions, we have Katori seemingly looking over the lifeless body and smiling, which is very disconcerting. So it's kind of, it could still go either way, really. And in fact, it makes me speculate, because we learn that Katori's power is teleportation, and switching someone out in, you know, a critical moment, could she end up sacrificing herself to save either Kuroha or Ryota at some point in the future? Of course, there is this other witch who is on the run, Shino, who has the ability to talk to animals. We see her talking to a kitten, trying to save its life, and the kitten actually shows concern for her. Once she has gotten a message through, you know, please come help me, Kuroha just comes running to her aid against Kana's vision and the warnings of Ryota and Kazumi as well. And it's very interesting to see that Kazumi is actually, even though there is some tension going on between her and Ryota, she is going to actively help as well. She does have a quirky little line about, you know, I should be getting paid for this, but her ability is apparently that super class A hacking. She ends up hooking her Honest onto the computer, and that's what allows her to do this uber hacking that she does. She's able to keep tabs on them with the CCTV cameras and everything, and essentially warns them that this Kikaku, this AA plus class witch with this cannon magic, is coming. You know, she looks to me almost like the character Pain from Final Fantasy X-2, only with blonde hair instead of gray. Very sort of Pat Benatar punk look to her, and she opens her mouth, and this raw energy, kind of like one of Cyclops' optic blasts from the X-Men, emanates from her mouth and completely destroys half of these docks down by this lake where this is all unfolding, which goes back to Kana's visions. This all happened by a lake as far as she was aware, so we don't know who is going to live and who is going to die. By the end of this episode, we see that cruelly and brutally Shino does not make it. She's taken out by this Kikaku witch, and the question is, you know, because Kuroha wants to destroy this witch, wants to stop her from trying to kill her friends. If she doesn't do it right here and now, this Kikaku will be after her friends, and they have to work together. It's an unspoken bond between them that if they're on the run from the lab, they got to do what they can to help each other. Otherwise, it'll be every witch for herself, and they are all doomed to, you know, pay for it in the end. And so by the end of this episode, the question mark is still hanging over Katori as far as, you know, whether she is genuine or she is the spy sent in from the lab. Could very well be that this Kikako is the one that, the lab sent out actually, and maybe, Katori is actually as innocent as she claims to be. She has an interest very similarly to Kuroha in looking at the stars and believing in aliens and stuff like that, which very much, piques the curiosity and the speculation of Ryota, whether this is true or not, whether she's being genuine or not. And of course, we had a couple more throwbacks verbally to Kuroha's being Kuroneko, his childhood friend. Of course, his memory was rewound in the last episode to my utter disappointment, but I like the compelling nature of their relationship that we got right back into here, because here we have Kuroha, speaking about all of these different celestial objects and things that she's looking up at the stars, and she remembers from her childhood, but she's not sure how she remembers it, because, as we know, her memories are coming at a loss with every use of her abilities. So it's gotten that much more compelling in this episode once again. I'm thoroughly intrigued and on the edge of my seat to see what's going to happen next. I cannot wait to have my mind blown. And yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.